Nothing was working this morning. It's so funny that today is themed energy because the energy was stifled somehow. There was no connection. And isn't that why and where energy really shows itself? Where there's a connection, where there's alignment, where the structure is able to hold it, where there's some integrity. Apparently in the loop here, there's some kind of missing integrity. So my little mics aren't working. No idea why. Showing fully charged and everything. And isn't that how life can be, and even our bodies can be? You might even feel fully charged and ready to go, but there's somewhere where there's a disconnect, or there's a lack of integrity. That's the way I like to frame it, because it really is just that, the threshold of what that area or that system can hold, or what it's designed to hold, may not be what's the specs that are required for what you're trying to accomplish. You might just need more time in, or you might need to actually rethink the plan. And so today, I'm going to see how far I can be from the setup and still be heard. I'm going to do this to begin, and we'll see how it works. All right, so let's just arrive here today. What a beautiful day to be alive. Grateful to have breath in my body. Just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Feel our feet on the ground, noticing the quality of our breath. Our first movement is the directionality of the breath, focusing it down and inward, noticing how the body responds to your intentionality. Noticing if you have any tension, if your breath moves easily or has resistance. And now that we've arrived fully, set an intention to have an amazing session. And that shifts the focus from tech issues or outside forces or circumstances. And we're just here in this moment, moving with energy. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just go into a gentle sway. And even just saying, let's sway, already recalls us to how it is that we sway. Even just swaying, before we warmed up, before we prepared the structure, you might notice tension, you might notice restriction somewhere, you might notice ease and flow. Whatever you're noticing, just allow it to be there. Noticing some tension in my right hip. And so, whatever you notice, now let's just make some circles. So I'm changing the loading of my feet. So I'm not actually going anywhere. Baby girl. Hi, honey. My puppy's behind me. Can you see her? Say hi, Macy. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. She's just the sweetest in the morning, especially. So I'm just leaning forward. My feet are flat. I'm just leaning forward, leaning to the side, leaning back, and just changing where my feet are loaded. I want the people to see, but let me see if I go over here. Can you see? Yes, okay. No, your toy's in the way. I'll go over here. Can you see? So I'm not going anywhere, I'm just leaning. It just changes how my body is loaded over my feet. And you might find it easier to be in one place than another. We're just noticing how our structure is stacked. And bring yourself back to center. And just notice if your ribs are coming forward, are they sticking out, or are they over your hips? Let's notice our alignment. Notice, is your head hanging forward of your neck more than is comfortable? And actually, would it be more comfortable to bring it back in alignment with the spine so that the spine is in alignment? Just notice. Spread the toes. See if you can sense a tripod under your feet, under the big toe, the little toe, and the heel. And then notice if your knees are turned in and sinking. If they are, notice what it could feel like to use your legs to turn them out just a little. Keeping your feet flat, just a little. And notice if that alignment feels a little bit better. And then if you have a big curve here, just pull the ribs in and just notice what happens to the tailbone. Ribs in, tailbone. Just notice if that alignment feels different. So our face is in, our ribs are in, without collapsing the shoulders. Our low back is more aligned, our knees are more aligned, and we're centered over our feet. Just notice that alignment. Breathing. Notice your breathing now. Is your breathing easier, more relaxed, more fluid? This is proper alignment. Most of us have some kind of shift happening. Either it's protruding forward or sticking the butt out, or our head is forward and we don't notice. And so we're just noticing today. And now let's begin with our circles, creating some synovial fluid in the wrists. Still breathing, and reverse. As you continue to breathe, let's make a 360 breath. Wrists and now elbows are circling. Try to expand your breath 360. Breathe into the low back, into the upper back, and shoulders forward, palms down. Make sure we're getting a full circle all the way up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, back, up. So complete the circle. Breathing. Notice if your head wants to go forward to help compensate for the shoulders, lack of integrity to hold the arms up. Just notice what your body does. Turn the palms up now and go backwards. Just noticing what the body does in response to changes we make. Reaching back so the circle is complete at the shoulder. Notice if the ribs want to come forward or if you're able to isolate just the shoulders moving. Now let's bring the hands in and we're going to press up and down, up, Fingers just stay in the same orientation when they get at the top. Breathing. Now we're going to change the direction of the push and then pull. So we're pushing, palms pushing away, turn them up, pull in, squeezing the back to make it happen. So instead of protruding the ribs to make it happen, I'm simply squeezing the back to make it happen. It changes the way the movement feels in the body. Continue pushing and pulling. These are simple patterns that the body does. We push horizontally, we push vertically, which we just finished. And coordinate the breath. We'll give the arms a rest and we'll do our sexy circles. And slow it down and notice all the nooks and crannies. If you have any places that feel like they could use a little love, then give them some touch. I have a little spot here. I could use a little bit of love. There we go. Just a little bit of love goes a long, long way. Reverse, love is also energy. So when we touch, we have intention of giving it some love. It does feel better, doesn't it? Good, now big circles, keeping our hips facing forward. Breathing. Breathing. Notice if your breath is able to have a continuity to it, an integrity to it, a flow to it, no matter how your body is positioned. You find it more challenging to breathe in when you're leaned over. Notice if it would feel better to exhale when you're leaned over. And inhale when you come up. Just notice what works best for your body, what coordinates best with the flow. If you have some back challenges, breathing in when you're bent over can help support because the air actually increases the integrity of the core, gives it support internally. So internal pressure creates an outward sense of integrity. Reverse. Moving slowly, finding all your nooks and crannies, all the little spaces in the joints and their articulation that maybe need a little bit of lubrication, some synovial fluid. Good, and bring it back to center. Let's do our ankles now. One at a time, slow motion. So just think about the quality of joint movement when we're moving slowly. If there's a restriction, and when we move quickly, there will be compensation, right? The body is not able to articulate in a way that's optimal. Will find ways to let you get the task at hand complete by any means necessary. It'll overuse some muscles, underuse others, shut some off, create optional or alternative pathways of activation within a muscle. Reverse. If that muscle has excess tension or adhesions, which are like coagulation of tissue or binding of tissues, or fibers need reorganization sometimes. They get in disarray after injury, especially, or even after use in a movement that you're unfamiliar with. There can be some disorganization there. That's why massage works really well, or rolling. Sometimes it's necessary to help reorganize the tissue and switch. Slow, just notice. Are you able to go into the pinky toe and roll across? Is there any restriction in the big toe? Noticing where there is a need for more attention. Breathing. And then let's turn that back to our sway with our feet a little wider. And we're just moving the shoulders, so notice what happens when you decide to move the shoulder and lean in that direction. You see how there's a natural return that wants to happen. The body loves rhythm, it loves patterns, and it has certain patterns that if you do them, it naturally sustains the quality of the tissues in a way that gives you longevity and pain-free movement, fluid movement that feels good and energizing. Now let's take that sway into a push from one foot to the other. So I'm pulling in through the hips slightly, sitting back a little, and then when I push up, pushing up through my heel, squeezing the glute, pushing through the heel. Just continue in that fashion. And just notice the knees. Are they able to maintain their integrity or their alignment? Is it folding in? Is it turning in? Is it wanting to push way out? What's happening? Are you able to do this movement without any discomfort? Is it taking a while for the knees to warm up a little bit? Breathing. Just notice your own body. We're noticing our own body and our ability to direct our own energy within our own system. Breathing. And now let's widen that stance and continue our shifting. And just notice what happens when we go deeper. There are more muscles that get recruited. The wider we go, the more the adductors get recruited. Just notice. Are your knees okay with this degree of bend? Or bending more than before? Right? Breathing. And let's go a little wider still. And go at your own pace. If you need to slow it down, do it one side at a time, and slow it down. Notice the body wanting to turn toward the leg when you do it, because it does take the path of least resistance, right? The body is always looking for ways to conserve energy and move optimally, and turning toward the leg makes it feel easier. Notice that. Notice the body wanting to do this. Now, see what it feels like when we intentionally don't move the torso and we put the effort more targeted into the glute and the leg again. Do you notice how because the upper body and lower body weren't working together to complete the task, it required more effort from one part of the body? So do it in the way that feels best for you. You might at this point need a little bit of coordination and assistance that's added when the body turns in order to be able to do the movement and feel good about doing it. Then go ahead and do that today. If you feel good about keeping your torso forward, then do that. If you want a little bit extra effort from the legs because you want them to get stronger, do that. Play with going back and forth between the two. Let's go a little wider yet, if you're able. And slow it down. Now that we're getting at some depth, slow it down. And because when we're going into territory that we don't often find ourselves in, we want to pay attention to what happens in that depth. Do we start to feel any kind of compromise or weakness or lack of integrity in any aspect of movement in the knees, breathing, breathing, breathing. Is there any tightness, restriction in the adductors? What happens if you pull your weight back and don't lean forward? How does that feel? Is that different? Notice. What if you just stick your butt back more and still don't lean forward? Does that open up the hips at all? Give you some more space, pushing the hips back. And let's see if we can take it down one more notch. Take it down a little bit lower now. Breathe, breathe. Sometimes we just have to do something long enough for it to become familiar enough for the body to figure out how to do it with efficiency. Bring yourself back to center, walk your feet in and together. So we're going to take this same movement and we're going to go back now. So we'll take one foot behind us and we're going to let the knee bend and the ankle bend, and we're just going to sink down like so, and let the tissues of the foot respond. Both feet should be facing forward. Breathing and then pushing up. Inhale. Exhale. See if you can coordinate the flow of your breath with the movement. Just notice how low you're going initially. We're going to not go to full tilt. We're just warming up. It can be a great asset to warm up using the same movements that you intend to do in life or in a deeper workout. Breathing. Just noticing if you feel the need to try to push back and give your legs a rest, or if you're able to stay focused over the center and use both legs together, coordinating, breathing. Just notice. Notice if there's some warmth happening in your ankles, if you're able to go a little bit deeper, because as warmth enters the system, elasticity increases. Breathing. Now find the depth that feels best for you. If you can barely touch the floor and come back up, or if you found a depth that you need to stay at because there's discomfort in the lower ranges, then do that. And then come back to center. Walk the feet together. And we'll go the other way now. So step back with the leg you didn't use yet. And we'll do the same. Just notice the quality of the tissues as you change how the force is directed over them with intention. Allowing the ankles to bend and the knees to bend. Just getting acclimated to the position. Just notice. You can put that, if you're not sure what to do with your hands, you can put them right here, or you can put them here, or you can even put them on your head. You can interlock them behind your head, or cup your ears, whatever is comfortable for you. I just like to hang them at my side, so I can focus on the legs, not what my arms are doing. Breathing. Noticing if one side was easier than the other. Does this side feel more challenging, or is it the same? How low can we go now? Can we barely touch the floor and come back up? Is there asymmetry between the sides, or are we able to do this on both, the same depth? Good, and bring it back to center. Excellent. Now we're going to step open like a gate. So we'll take a step behind, like a drop step, so that we're on an angle. And then reach down and touch the ground. Stick the chest out, stand, push up. Same leg. I'm going to drop step, so look at my front foot is still facing forward. So I'll do it this way. And my drop step is I just open my leg like a door, as if I was going to turn and say something to someone behind me. And then I'm going to bend down and touch the floor right by that foot. Chest out, push up, return. Okay, so open. Here. Breathe. Feel this new orientation. Feel the chest over the leg, quad turned on. Squeeze the quad on purpose if it hurts your knee, or if it feels uncomfortable or unstable. Squeeze the glute on purpose and push yourself up. Sometimes we have to give intentional support to the system. If we haven't experienced this position before, the body might not be organizing in a way that allows the energy to flow optimally. So open. A lot of times I've found over the years that many people have pain because there's a decreased intensity of the activation of the muscles. Because there's not enough force being created to support the joint in the position, or there is compensation happening. It's an activation pattern that muscles that aren't meant to be doing the movement are being used. Just keep going. Let's find it. Find what works for you. Squeeze the quad on purpose. Squeeze the glutes. Stick your chest out. Yeah, so you're using your upper back, not your low back to come up. Excellent. How can you figure this movement out for yourself? What if this was something you needed to do today and you wanted to do it optimally? Maybe you had to do it 15 times in order to get the job done. Maybe you're receiving a child, who knows, falling off a high chair, and you just, at the corner of your sixth sense, you felt it and you're like, oh, and you needed to catch the baby. You just never know. I mean, think of yourself as a hero in this scenario. Sometimes it can help. Imagery is everything, sometimes. Okay, let's do 2 more. Dropping the butt. Now, let's see, can we get lower now? And where our torso then takes a different orientation to the leg, where we don't have to stick the chest out so much because we're already at a 45-degree angle. And just notice how that changes the effort needed on the leg. Just playing here, just exploring the body. Squeeze on purpose, give yourself support. Okay, let's try the other side. Save the baby, y'all, save the baby. Ready? Open. Now this is a new side, so take your time. Maybe we don't start as slow. Just bending over and putting the hands down. Just feeling ourselves here.
what needs to happen to get up with efficiency and without any issue. Any meaning there's no discomfort or pain. Discomfort might be because you're turning on muscles, using them in a position. So discomfort is okay. But we're thinking about what I need to do in order to have the movement be efficient, not have there be any pain. We're using big muscles. So you can hear me getting a little bit, my breath is, being used more because more oxygen is being required in my system, and I'm talking. Right, so focus on the breath. Step. Find it. How can you load this in a way that feels good in your body? Chest out. Squeeze the quad. Turn it on purpose and push. Maybe you push first and then step. Again. Opening, saving the baby. Let's do 2 more. Let's work with the orientation of the chest and the leg on these last 2. So chest is more up. It's good. We're sinking down, squeezing out of it. One more time. Excellent. All right. So if you were not warm before, you likely are. We use big muscles to do those movements. And now let's return to our sway. Nice and easy. And notice if there's a change. Is there a sense of ease or lightness that you feel from returning to this place of rhythm? Maybe even more ease here than before. When we take our system to greater extremes, which we just did, sometimes there's a relativity to returning to this, what once felt effortful when it was the hardest thing that you've done. And now that it's by far the easiest thing we've done today, then the sense of effort is less, right? So there's relativity. And let's add the shoulders. Bring in everything full circle. Breathing. And change that into a roll back of the shoulder. Roll back. Breathing. Breathing. And let the whole body get involved now. Let the whole body get involved. All the way down to the feet. So let the feet get involved. Become like a little bit of a dance. Taking the shoulders back, 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 back. And then let the arms naturally swing. And we'll take it into a bit of a march. And start to, there we go. So this is also a pattern that the body does. This contralateral, both sides of the brain movement. And just notice. Let's slow it down. And let's see what we're using. What happens when we pull up only with the hip flexor and don't round the back when we pull up? Notice if you bring in the leg up, if this wants to round to get it up, or if you're able to isolate the hip flexor. Maybe you take it even slower and just do one leg to start and see how it feels to lift, sticking the tailbone out so you keep the movement truly in the hip flexor. And do it again, tailbone out. Just think about the tailbone out. Finding the front of the hip. Slow motion, bionic woman. Let's go. And then finally, let's check on the hip hike. So sometimes when we lift the leg, we're not used to using our hip flexor. We also hike and use the lateral hip. So just drop that down and pull up through the front of the hip. Stick your tailbone out. It can be a different experience in the body to actually use the hip flexors for what they're made for, just flexing the hip and not recruiting the lumbar or the spine and bringing it into flexion. Notice if you want to protrude the ribs, notice if that's wanting to happen. Probably, if you have this rounding, probably have caving. If you have an excessive curve, sometimes we'll go into a deeper curve in order to facilitate movement. Good, let's return to the march now and each time we lift, let's stick the tailbone, keep the tailbone out. Drive the elbow back, the other hand comes up to the knee, up to the ear rather. And let's try not to lean one direction or the other. Let's keep our weight square over the foot that we're standing on. Find your hip flexors. Often they get tight, which means that there's weakness, especially if we sit a lot. Good, and then finally, we're going to return to the pressing. So we're going to push out, pull in, and we're just going to create a little bit of a base. So bend the knees. Create a flow that feels good. Keeping the hands rather low and not bringing them up to chest. We're pulling in at about hip height now. Feel how that change or focus gives us access to our lower or mid traps instead of the upper back. Notice if one side feels more engaged than the other. Maybe you feel your shoulder on one side and your back on another. Good, and let's reach up. So reaching up, you might already feel the ribs wanting to rise. I'm just going to come down so you can see me. If you want to come down, you can. And it might actually feel good to unload the hips a little bit. As you're reaching up, I want you to intentionally pull the ribs down away from the arms. Continue to reach the arms away from the hips, and the ribs pull down toward the hips. You can tuck the tailbone just a tiny, tiny bit to get a neutral spine if you don't have it. And you'll feel opening in the hip flexors, which we were just using. And then we're just going to gently lean to one side, keeping the hands up. Reaching, the intention of reaching away. Come back to center. Other way. Breathing. Keeping the tailbone slightly tucked, ribs are in. Breathing. Other side. Pull the arms back slightly so they're even with your ears, or slightly even with your temples. Now put the hands together. Keep reaching, pointing your index fingers. Notice if you're rotating or if you're square to the front. Notice if you're looking down, if you're looking straight ahead. Look straight ahead. Breathe.
And give your tush a little squeeze for a little added support here. If this is bothering your knees, you can either stand up or you could sit down. You can sit on a chair or on the ground. I'm only going to be here for one more round on each side. If you're okay, stay here with me. Keep elongating through the arms, squeezing your face with your arms, straightening it. Excellent. And let's go down to sitting. Let's move to our breath now. So our breath, just going to use a 360 expansive breath. Breathing in and imagining our whole bodies moving like a wave in and out with every inhale and exhale. Expanding the belly and then around to the back. All of us, all aspects, breathing together. Five more breaths together. Find any spaces that need your breath today, that need a little love, need some expansion. Tilt the pelvis to sit up taller without protruding the ribs if you need to. And now let's take the head back, holding the tissues of the chest, gently pulling them away, feeling some elongation. Let the mouth just gently hang open. Maybe. And from this place of openness and energetic fluidity, let's set an intention for today. How would you like to show up? How do you choose to be? Would you have that head into your visualization for a minute? And from this place of intentionality and chosen becoming, tap in, rise up, and have a powerful, powerful